a couple tips on cloth diapering with wool nappy covers versus an all-in-one cloth nappy. So real quick, we'll just go over a traditional cloth nappy that has a built-in waterproof layer hidden, just like fitted cloth nappies that do not have a waterproof on the outside. These tend to often come with a bit of absorbency, either built in, like this one has. The tongues are just tucked in the little pocket. There's also some more absorbency there. And then there are also extra boosters where you can boost to be able to have enough absorbency for your particular child, because each child is going to have their own unique needs. So with either style nappy, they come with, some absorbent layers, and they will be absorbent themselves. And there will also be extra booster layers that you can put in to make sure that you have enough absorbency for your child's wetness. And obviously, if the absorbency is over full, even on in a cloth nappy that has a built-in waterproof layer, wetness can leak out, and it will tend to leak out of the legs or around the waistline. If you're using a fitted nappy with a wool cover, what happens is the wool, just like it does for a sheep, it repels wetness. So as well as at the same time, the lanolin in the wool helps to evaporate wee. So the trick is, for having success using a wool nappy cover, you want to make sure that you have enough absorbency in the nappy for your child, for the length that they're going to be wearing it for, so that it doesn't get too wet to then get to the point where it saturates the wool. At first, it can be a little bit tricky, but once you get it, it's complete magic. And as your child grows, they will likely be having larger wees, so you may need a different type, more absorbency or, whatnot to compensate. So, but it does, once you get it, it's absolute magic. So I just wanted to show a bit of an example here. This is a size 2 Little Lambs bamboo fitted nappy. Now this comes with an absorbent layer and then an extra booster, and that's bamboo. And depending on the child, this may be all right. But if you're finding that it's penetrating through the wool, then you could add more boosters in, and then fasten the nappy. There's also another way, and some parents as well will, instead of putting it in the nappy, they may choose to have it outside the nappy if they're using a wool wrap. See, so there's just some extra boosters, and then you fasten the wool wrap. And then also there are boosters that are made out of wool. Sadly, I don't have one to hand at the moment. However, that would definitely be used on the outside. Let's see, I did pick up a, guess we'll just do one of those. We'll just say this is a wool booster. Mine tend to be more like 4 to 5, about 4 to 5 inches wide and about 11 inches long, you know, for a one size. And then you can put that inside your wool cover, and then, you know, fasten it up so you have an extra layer of wool for a barrier. And I think that's good. I just want to show as well what worked for my son from the time that he was about 12 months on, because he was a real heavy wetter, and we also used wool. He used wool day and night. We had wool trousers, and so we didn't have that we used as like a nappy cover plus clothing. And then we also used wraps. So, but this was quite magic. And I believe these may still be available, or else I may be selling my stash because I have no use for them. This is a solid 100% bamboo Little Lambs quad fold, I think it could be called, or a tri-fold, whatever. I folded it. I think 4 times. There's 4 layers here. This is absolutely magic. And then a small, I think this is like a small size pre-fold. I wrapped that around, and then it was inside a nappy like this. These were a Mominos. They were really popular back in the day. That had a couple built-in you know, boosters. However, just wasn't enough. So we had that inside his nappy, and then we used a fleece liner on top, so that kept the moisture away from his skin. And then fastened that up and had that inside his woolies. So I preferred that, and well, it worked for him, and I preferred not to have boosters on the outside. Typically, we may have had 1 or 2 for some of our woolly wraps. Depends. We've had so many different woolly wraps, but in like a wool trousers, you know, you wouldn't want a booster that was on the outside just falling out and that wasn't fastened in somewhere. But yeah, so like so. So I just wanted to go over that. Wool, with using wool, it's really about getting the absorbency in the nappy appropriate at the right level for your child, so that the wool doesn't get wet on the outside. It may, I think it's quite natural, especially overnight and whatnot, for the wool to be a bit damp on the outside. You know, you don't want your child to be sopping wet, or the bedding getting wet. It's totally normal if the woolly was damp, so long as things aren't wet. You just put this on an air and dry it during the day or overnight, whichever time of day it is when you take it off. So yeah, and then you just air dry them, and you'll find even if they may be a bit smelly when you've taken it off, after you've air dried it, they tend to be fresh because they're self-cleaning as well. It's when after they've had an air dry that it smells a bit whiffy and whatnot. That is the sign to go ahead and give it a fresh wash and lanolized treatment. I hope this helps, and yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks.